Jeff Barton. I'm one of the owners of Waterfresh Farms. My Barney Borowski, who's right there, is our grower, has been for many years now. So Barney is the one who is rolling up the sleeves and getting into all the growing aspects of it. But we have been growing here for 15 years. And we started out growing tomatoes. The basic premise when we started out was a small, I'll call it families farm, because it was the Tadaro and Barton families that did this jointly. But we wanted to create this. We figured there was an opportunity for a farm not trying to get huge and export product all over the place, but within the community we serve. And so we started out, and it wasn't going to be all about pricing. And so when we started out, Roche Brothers gave us our start. They were the first ones to acknowledge and understand that there could be a value to local. And this was 15 years ago, and no one really cared about local. And so they got it, because we weren't talking about price, and we weren't going to follow the market price, and we weren't going to change our price every week. And so they gave us our start, saw the potential in it, and then that allowed us to expand. The original greenhouse was the footprint of the market, the barn now. We expanded, so 3 years later we built the remainder of the greenhouses, and then tomatoes are still our biggest crop, and that's what we do mostly is the wholesale. Most of the tomatoes go out wholesale, and that's Roche Brothers still, Whole Foods, and some Stop and Shops. Since then, we've added cucumbers. They're the small Persian cucumbers. So they're very thin-skinned, absolutely delicious. We added baby spinach. That started because we wanted to try strawberries. And one of the things we always try and do is innovate. And so Barney, we did the towers that you see that the baby spinach is growing on. Barney kept a couple of those buckets separate and tried baby spinach because he had heard that that worked as well. And the strawberries were okay. They weren't great, and we only want great. And so the spinach was great. And so we went from 4 buckets to now 32 buckets, and we still can't grow enough of the spinach. We pick it and it's gone. It is sweet, I have to say, personal experience. Right? It's very sweet. Yeah, and so it's the spinach you see in the pools is basil and lettuce, and again everything in this greenhouse here, which we built to demonstrate a lot of different crops, but that's all being sold through the market. And here is the microgreens that we are really just getting going on, and they're kind of like a sprout, but they're really great, intense flavor. We put them in our salads and sandwiches that we make in the market. And we're just starting to look to sell that outside of here as well, as we're refining and getting the techniques down for growing that. A couple quick things. So we grow hydroponically. The main benefit of hydroponic growing is that we can provide the plants the nutrients they need when they need it and the amount they need it. So the tomatoes, especially tomatoes and cucumber plants, the frequency and the volume of the feed is tied directly to the temperature and light and humidity, and so it varies throughout the day based upon those factors. And so it's keeping, the whole point is to keep the plants as healthy as possible so they'll be as productive as possible. It also allows us to plant them at a much higher density than you would out in the field. And typically we work with a couple different professors, luminaries in the field. Merle Jensen. Merle has worked with us since we started. Merle designed Epcot, the hydroponic display at Epcot. The Chinese government asked for him by name, and he helped them grow their hydroponic greenhouse production from, I think, 50,000 acres to over 200 million acres. And that's how we got started. We took a class with Merle, and recognizing to know what we don't know, we asked Merle to help us, and Merle's been on a retainer with us for 15 years, ever since we started. We talk to him every week, at least once a week, and he helps us. The professor at the University of New Hampshire is a good friend of Merle's, Otho Wells, who we also work with. And Otho has told us, to give you another fact on this, is that in our climate, New England, the hydroponic production will get you about 10 times the production of a field in the the same acreage or what have you. I'm going to take it for a walk, but the one point I'll make is, so what we had decided is, you know, when we started, we felt that there was an opportunity to grow and serve in the community that we're in, and then we saw an opportunity to serve it directly, and that's why we built the barn that we did using a Vermont builder, Geo Barns, and they came in and built this beautiful post and beam barn. It's painted inside and out with a product from Vermont called Vermont Natural Coatings, and it's an all-natural paint made out of whey. It's a byproduct of the dairy industry, which is, you know, we're proud. In fact, the red that you see there, they created for us. They didn't have a barn red color yet, and we wanted it to be barn red, and so they made it, and now they're selling the barn red. But the whole point of the market and how we built it and how you can walk here, and you don't really feel it, but there's a 4-foot space between the two buildings. But it was tied together to try and really integrate so that people can walk in and just experience the growing environment just as much as they can if they take the product home and eat it at home. And you see now kids, what I love is kids come in the door, mom grabs a cart, and the kids run right out here. And, you know, it's easy. The moms know where the kids are. The kids are hanging out in here, and it's just, it works really well. And they see the product that they're growing, knowing that the lettuce they're taking home, you know, was probably picked about an hour before they're taking it home. And so it's the absolute utmost in freshness. The roots grow throughout that, and then in this case, we put them right in the pool. The roots will grow right down and hang in the water, and they're only in the water for it's about 3 weeks or so until we harvest.
So they don't rot,
no.
they grow so quickly.
And this is the practical nature. I mean, this is just, you know, to be honest, it's styrofoam insulation. So Barney he drilled a 1-inch hole, big enough for the rockable cube to go in, and that's how we float them.
Do you put anything in the water?
That's where the nutrients. So we'll put the nutrients directly in the water. So that's the other thing about the hydroponics. It gives you the ability to give the plant what they need when they need it, but we can also give the direct that recipe of nutrients. So every plant has, you know, the basil and the lettuce obviously use the same nutrients, but the spinach has a different feed. The tomatoes and cucumbers have a different recipe for those nutrients, which are the basic, you know, it's potassium and nitrogen and all of the magnesium, the iron, the building blocks that every living thing needs. And so what we're doing is we put that right in the water and give it to the plants directly.
Is that done automatically or is that done manually?
It's done manually. And so we mix it, and what we also do though is we measure the pH and something called the electrical conductivity of the water every day to check and see how we might need to change that nutrient solution to give the plants what they need.
I apologize if you already answered it, but how many crops can you get here in a year? How quick will this turn over?
These turn over, I don't know, Barney, if you know the answer to that right off your head.
That varies between summer and winter. I mean, like July, 4 weeks for lettuce and basil. You know, in the winter you go up to 6-7 weeks. You know, inside of this bay, because we have lights too, that helps, you know, quite a bit too.
Do you have the lights on during the night, or are they
just, I mean, on the summer to the fall, not. We started to light the bay, I mean, the greenhouse probably late October. I mean, that's,
and then it'll go straight through into April. And we'll look at that's the little hole in the top is where we drop the seeds. And then we'll take it and put it right into the spring. Every plant is drip irrigated with this. And so every plant goes through, you know, the plastic tubing, and it goes from the feed tanks, and it's drip irrigates every single plant. And as I mentioned, what we're doing, we're monitoring temperature, humidity, and light 24/7. And that feeds back to a computer which regulates the environment, but also regulates the feed cycle of the plants, all to try and keep them with an optimal growth.